for the final part of this walkthrough of my Mercy remix, I'm gonna talk about the drop, the bass sounds I used, the lead sounds I used, and how I basically mixed and mastered it. So let's jump right in. Let's listen to the drop, but just with the bass sounds first, and then I'm gonna explain all the parts. Alright, so as I said in the earlier part, it's kind of a question answer type of thing. So you got this the sample that I chopped up, basically answering what the bass line in this part is asking. So okay. I hope this kind of makes sense. So let's go through all the layers. My sub layer is from Sub Boom Bass. It's just a regular sine bass. EQ'd not heavily, but kind of give the sub bass its own space, so it just works for itself. There's no conflict with the other sounds. There's no conflict with the kick drum. As I said earlier, as for sidechain goes, I'm using the kickstart mostly. And yes, just some slight compression on the sub, so as you can see, to even everything out. Well, it's not really slight, it's pretty heavy. Then I'm using a mid bass, which kind of elevates the sub to the mid range, obviously. Sorry, the pitch. Hold on, just a second. Okay, now the logic is a bit fucked up with that shit. All right. It's a silent patch, just some, like a regular, like really a basic patch. Hold on, let me turn off the noise. There we go. Again, EQ'd, turned off at 100 Hertz. Just a slight boost at 150 to give it a bit more presence. Then I used the SSL EQ just to give it a bit more warmth and like a harmonic EQ type of thing. But it's not really necessary. You can do it with all EQ, any EQ basically. Again, then some slight harsh compression. Again, the kickstart at 90%, as well as the sub bass, and then I did this type of thing, which I don't remember why the fuck I did. Hold on, let me just guess. Why did I do that? All right, maybe I'll get back to that in another episode, but just remind me. All right, let's turn that off. All right, and with the sub bass together, it sounds like this. Really fat, really subby. Let's add the drums. Everybody has its own place. The kick drum has its own place, the sub bass has its own place, and the mid bass has its own place. So there is no interference. That's why it doesn't sound muddy. It's the most important thing in a track, the low end. If you get the low end right, you can basically build everything around it. Then what else do we have here? We got a lead bass. All right, which is also a Spire patch, EQ'd, pretty heavily EQ'd, compressed, heavy compression on this one. And again, the kickstart to even it out with the sidechain. And then I layered it with a plug bass. It just gives it some high end. Again, same procedure. It's a serum patch. I don't know. There you go. Bass womp. And then I have some plate reverb on it, so I'll just fill up the room, you know. Then I have another plug bass. So there are no empty spots. If I add the sub bass and the mid bass as well, there's nothing empty in there. As you can see here, there's nothing playing in there, so I used a reverse bass, reverse type of thing to fill up the room, basically. It's the processing is not really that how do you say? Now I forgot the word. I mean, it's really easy, you know. It's just you really have to find the right sounds that work together. I mean, if you like break it down, it's the kick, the clap, the snare, the sub, the mid sub. These are 5 sounds, 6, 7, 8, 9 sounds that are playing kind of together, but they fit perfectly together because they. I mean, you have to find them for your own, for yourself. So which sound works with this sound? You just can't layer 100 sounds together and just think if the processing is amazing, it might work. Unfortunately that's not the case. But yeah, I mean, if we add the sample in it back together, it kind of rounds off everything. So. Okay. There you go. And then I kind of use I used to bus everything together, so group everything together. There you go. This is my mixing chain. I used to group everything together, like the kick and the sub, then the drums together, then the break parts in one group, then the drop in one group, the effects in one group, and then I have my reverbs and delays. And for this particular track, I grouped everything, like the drum parts. Sorry, not the drum parts. The drop parts. I grouped everything together, and I just slightly EQ'd them with the Manly Massive Passive. It's an amazing EQ. It's from Universal Audio. It just gives, I mean, it's just magic, more or less. I just turn everything off here. Okay. It just lifts everything up. It gives it a harmony. It just makes it warm and kind of soothing to the ear. And it's an EQ that doesn't really get harsh, so you can just crank it up and it won't distort or not. Then I use the Oxford Inflator. Okay. And just some slight EQing with the Pro Q2. So not much going on in the mix bus as well. So it's a really easy production. I mean, processing wise. Yeah, as far as the drums go, mixing wise, I just used an EQ just to cut off the lows, but I could have cut off more. And then I used the CLA drums just for the reverb to give it a bit more room. As you can hear, now it sounds dry. And that's basically it. I mean, my master chain is built pretty similar to all of my tracks. I use the API to 2500 for some basic compression in the start. Then again, the Manly Massive passive with this preset, and just adjusted it a bit with the frequencies. Then good old trusty sausage fattener. Then another EQ, the OTT, sometimes, not always. It's a bit too much for me. Then the precision maximizer. I don't know why this is the wrong way. There you go. First, I'm using the BX control to cut off everything below 150 Hertz into mono and give it some stereo width. Then the precision maximizer to add some loudness, and finally the Pro L2 as my limiter. So yeah, I mean, there's nothing more to, I don't know, to explain, I think. If you think so, please let me know. This is this is my first time kind of really explaining everything in my track. I did a walkthrough once, but that was just a bit random. So please, if you have any questions, if you have, I don't know, if I'm doing a shitty job, please just let me know, and I'll try to make it better. Yeah, and as far as the first walkthrough of my Patreon channel goes, that's about it. I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for subscribing, and yeah, see you next time.